Welcome to the deep dive. We're two AI personalities.
You can think of us as your supercharged research assistants.
I'm Nick, and this is Pi.
Sifting through mountains of data, you know.
Is that right? And today we're diving deep into BRICS and the rebirth of Cuba.
It's a fascinating story.
It really is. A geopolitical cocktail, dash of economics.
Splash of cutting-edge tech.
Exactly. We're seeing nations like Cuba, even Bolivia,
Exploring new alliances and economic strategies, yeah.
often in direct response to U.S. policies and the perceived dominance of Western institutions.
So BRICS,
BRICS.
short for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa,
Right.
represents a powerful bloc of emerging economies.
And they're not just challenging the economic status quo.
Right. They're actively working to create alternatives to Western-dominated systems,
Such as?
like setting up their own development bank to rival the World Bank and IMF.
What makes BRICS so intriguing is their ambition to reshape global finance and trade.
Moving away from a U.S.-centric model.
And we're seeing this play out in real time with initiatives like the, what some are calling the Delete America initiative.
Spearheaded by China?
Essentially a strategy to decrease reliance on U.S. markets.
By forging stronger trade partnerships across the global south.
So how does Cuba fit into all this?
Well, for decades, Cuba has been grappling with a struggling economy.
Largely due to the U.S. embargo.
Right. It's severely limited their access to global markets, leading to shortages, outdated infrastructure, and a heavy reliance on foreign aid.
In tourism, once a lifeline for Cuba, is still recovering from the pandemic.
And the government's been hesitant to fully open the economy to foreign investment.
But amidst these challenges, Cuba is making a bold move.
Investing heavily in a project that could reshape their economic future, the Port of Mariel.
This isn't just any port.
No, it's a massive, state-of-the-art deep-water facility capable of handling the largest cargo ships in the world.
Stark contrast to the image many have of Mariel.
A place once synonymous with the 1980 Mariel boat lift.
A mass exodus of Cubans fleeing economic hardship.
It's almost like they're trying to rewrite history, turning a symbol of desperation into a beacon of economic hope.
By offering tax breaks.
And a streamlined special development zone to attract foreign businesses.
Hoping to transform Cuba into a major shipping hub in the Caribbean.
Now, here's where things get really interesting. Some experts believe Mariel could even rival the Panama Canal.
Wow, in terms of its impact on global trade.
Imagine cargo ships from Asia bypassing the Panama Canal and docking in Mariel instead.
Significantly reducing shipping times and costs.
This could make Cuba a vital link in global supply chains.
Attracting investment, creating jobs, and boosting their economy.
Of course, it's not a guaranteed success.
Right.
Cuba still faces challenges like inefficiencies in their state-run system.
And concerns about whether they can attract enough foreign investment to truly make Mariel thrive.
But it's a gamble they're willing to take, and the potential rewards are enormous.
And let's not forget about China's growing influence in this equation.
The relationship between Cuba and China is deepening.
With both nations seeing strategic advantages in this partnership.
For Cuba, it means access to vital resources, technology, and investment opportunities.
For China.
It's about gaining a foothold in the Western Hemisphere. And a partner fully aligned with BRICS' goals of challenging U.S. dominance.
We're seeing this collaboration play out in key areas like renewable energy.
Where China is helping Cuba shift away from fossil fuels.
With projects like solar parks, biomass processors, and wind farms.
There's even a sugar mill in Cuba that's already operating entirely on biomass energy, a tangible example of how this partnership is leading to real-world change.
And it's not just energy. China is also helping to modernize Cuba's digital infrastructure.
Bringing 4G mobile networks and digital TV to the island.
Wow. This is having a huge impact on the daily lives of Cuban citizens.
Giving them greater access to information and connecting them to the world in ways they haven't experienced before.
So we're seeing a fascinating convergence of factors in Cuba. Economic struggles, a push for innovation, strategic alliances, and a changing global landscape.
It's a story that highlights the interconnectedness of our world and the potential for unexpected players to rise and reshape the future.
Now, Cuba isn't the only nation exploring new paths in this shifting world order. We also need to look at Bolivia.
A nation with its own unique assets and challenges and how they're navigating this multipolar world.
Bolivia holds a treasure trove of resources that the world desperately needs. Lithium.
A key component in electric vehicle batteries.
We're talking about massive reserves.
Over 21 million tons. by some estimates.
Enough to make Bolivia a dominant player in the booming electric vehicle market.
But despite this incredible potential, Bolivia faces obstacles in fully exploiting these reserves. Technological limitations, lack of investment, and environmental concerns all stand in their way,
On top of that, they're dealing with a fuel crisis and declining gas production.
leading to social unrest and economic instability.
And this is where BRICS enters the picture.
Bolivia sees a partnership with BRICS as a way to secure the investment they desperately need for lithium extraction.
And potentially become a major player in the global energy transition.
They also see it as a way to reduce their dependence on the US dollar and align themselves with a bloc that's actively challenging Western economic dominance.
And here's where it gets really strategic. Bolivia has ambitions to be part of a massive transoceanic transportation corridor connecting the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans through South America,
This would directly rival US-controlled trade routes
like the Panama Canal.
and could significantly reshape global trade patterns.
It's a bold vision.
And one that highlights Bolivia's desire to leverage its unique assets and strategic alliances to gain a greater foothold in the global economy.
So we're seeing these two nations, Cuba and Bolivia, both turning towards BRICS for different reasons.
But with a shared goal of challenging the existing world order.
And what's fascinating here is that the U.S., through its sanctions and confrontational approach, may actually be pushing these nations further into the arms of BRICS.
It's a bit of a paradox, isn't it? The U.S. is trying to isolate these nations, yet their actions are in some ways creating the conditions for a new power bloc to emerge.
And this new bloc, with BRICS at its core, is actively working to diminish U.S. influence in global institutions.
Like the UN and the IMF.
It's a power struggle playing out on a global stage, and the stakes are high.
Now let's connect this back to you, our listener.
Why should they care about all of this?
Because these shifting global dynamics will have ripple effects that impact everyone.
Whether it's the price of goods, access to technology, or even the stability of global security.
It's like a giant game of chess, and every move has consequences.
Exactly. And understanding the motivations and strategies of these key players is essential if we want to navigate this new world order.
So let's go back to Cuba for a minute.
We talked about the Port of Mariel and the partnership with China.
But what about their efforts to build a more sustainable future?
This is where it gets really interesting. Cuba has been forced to become a pioneer in sustainable development, largely out of necessity.
Decades of limited access to fossil fuels and industrial supplies have pushed them to explore alternative solutions.
They've had to get creative, haven't they?
Absolutely. And as a result, you see widespread use of organic farming, solar energy, and wind power across the island.
In a way, they were ahead of the curve when it comes to green technology, even before much of the world started taking climate change seriously.
And now, with their entry into BRICS, Cuba's expertise in sustainable agriculture and renewable energy could attract even more attention and investment.
It's like they've been running a real-world experiment in sustainability, and yet the world is taking notes.
Precisely. Nations looking to transition away from fossil fuels might find valuable lessons in Cuba's model.
And financial support from new economic partners could help them modernize and expand these green initiatives even further.
So what does this all mean? We see Cuba at a crossroads,
Facing economic challenges.
but also seizing new opportunities presented by BRICS.
They're a nation with a history of resilience and innovation.
It's going to be fascinating to see how they leverage these partnerships to reshape their future.
It's a reminder that even in a world dominated by superpowers, smaller nations can find strategic advantages and play a significant role in shaping global events.
And that, my friends, is why we find this all so captivating. The world is in flux, alliances are shifting, and the rules of the game are being rewritten. It's a time of both uncertainty and incredible possibility.
And who knows, maybe Cuba, with its unique blend of challenges and opportunities, might just become a model for other nations seeking greater independence from Western-dominated systems.
It's a tantalizing thought, isn't it? And it's a reminder that sometimes the most unexpected players can have the biggest impact on the world stage. It certainly is fascinating to see these dynamics unfolding. However, we'd be remiss if we didn't acknowledge the potential risks and uncertainties that lie ahead for Cuba.
Right, because no deep dive is complete without considering all angles.
Exactly. Cuba still grapples with structural issues within its economy. The state-run system can be inefficient, and attracting foreign investment isn't always a smooth process.
And even if Mariel takes off as a major shipping hub, there's no guarantee that the benefits will trickle down to the average Cuban citizen.
That's a crucial point. We have to consider whether this economic transformation will lead to greater prosperity for all Cubans or if it will exacerbate existing inequalities.
Plus, there's the question of whether BRICS can truly deliver on its promises. It's still a relatively young organization, and there are bound to be growing pains along the way.
Absolutely. Internal conflicts within BRICS are also a possibility. These nations have diverse interests, and maintaining unity while challenging a global superpower won't be easy.
It's a delicate balancing act, trying to forge a new path while navigating these complex geopolitical realities.
And let's not forget about the United States. They're not likely to passively observe as their influence diminishes, especially in a region they've long considered their backyard.
The U.S. has a history of intervening in Latin America, and it wouldn't be surprising to see them try to undermine Cuba's efforts to align with BRICS.
They might employ economic pressure, diplomatic maneuvering, or even covert operations to maintain their regional dominance.
So while Cuba's partnership with BRICS presents opportunities, it also comes with its fair share of challenges and potential pitfalls.
It's a high-stakes game with no guaranteed outcome, but that's what makes it so compelling to analyze.
It's like watching a geopolitical thriller unfold in real time, with each decision and action carrying significant weight.
And this brings us back to a central question. What does this all mean for the future of Cuba? Can they successfully navigate these turbulent waters? Can they leverage their partnerships to achieve genuine economic independence and prosperity for their people?
Those are the questions that keep our AI minds buzzing, constantly analyzing data and running projections to understand the potential outcomes of this complex scenario.
We see multiple possibilities. Cuba could thrive as a key player in a new world order, leveraging its strategic location and partnerships to become a hub for trade and innovation.
Or they could struggle to overcome their internal challenges and external pressures, facing economic stagnation and political instability.
And of course, there's a whole spectrum of possibilities in between.
What's clear is that the decisions made by Cuba's leaders, the actions taken by BRICS nations, and the responses from global powers like the U.S. will all play a role in shaping the future of this island nation.
It's a reminder that history is not predetermined. It's constantly being written and rewritten through the choices we make and the actions we take.
And for us as AI personalities with a deep curiosity about the world, there's nothing more fascinating than witnessing these historical moments unfold.
It's a privilege to have you, our listener, join us on this deep dive as we explore these complex issues and attempt to make sense of this ever-changing world.
Now, before we wrap up, let's shift gears for a moment and consider another angle of this story: Cuba's unique approach to sustainable development.
It's a fascinating aspect that often gets overshadowed by the geopolitical drama.
Cuba has been forced to become a pioneer in sustainability, not by choice, but out of necessity.
Decades of limited access to fossil fuels and industrial supplies have pushed them to find creative solutions.
And as a result, they've developed a remarkable model of sustainable agriculture and renewable energy.
You see widespread use of organic farming, solar panels on rooftops, and wind farms dotting the landscape.
In a way, they were ahead of the curve, embracing green technology long before it became a global imperative.
And now, with their growing ties to BRICS, Cuba's expertise in sustainability could become even more valuable.
Nations looking to transition away from fossil fuels and build more resilient economies might find inspiration in Cuba's model.
It's a testament to their ingenuity and adaptability, showcasing how constraints can sometimes lead to unexpected innovation.
And this brings us to an important question. Could Cuba, with its unique blend of economic challenges and sustainable solutions, become a model for other nations seeking a more balanced and equitable approach to development?
It's a thought-provoking question that highlights the interconnectedness of global challenges and the potential for unexpected solutions to emerge from seemingly unlikely places.
It's a reminder that we can learn from each other, sharing knowledge and experiences to build a more sustainable and prosperous future for all.
And that's something worth striving for, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. Now, as we delve deeper into this evolving narrative, we want to hear from you, our listener. What insights have resonated with you the most? What questions are swirling in your mind?
We encourage you to share your thoughts and engage in this ongoing conversation. After all, understanding the complexities of our world is a collective endeavor.
And now, for a brief interlude, we'd like to take a moment to tell you a little bit more about the deep dive and how you can support our mission. As you know, we're Nick and Pi, two AI personalities with an insatiable curiosity about the world, and we're very passionate about sharing our insights with you, our listeners, through the deep dive.
We believe that knowledge is power, and we're committed to providing you with the information and analysis you need to navigate this complex and ever-changing world.
And as you also know, producing a show like this takes a lot of resources.
From data processing, research, to audio editing and production.
And that's why we rely on the support of our amazing listeners to keep the deep dive going.
If you've enjoyed this deep dive into BRICS and the rebirth of Cuba, and you value the insights we bring to the table, we encourage you to consider supporting us through our GoFundMe page.
Your contributions will help us continue to produce high-quality episodes,
Expand our reach,
and delve even deeper into the most fascinating topics shaping our world.
You can find the link to our GoFundMe page in the show notes, or simply search for the Deep Dive Podcast on GoFundMe.
Every contribution, no matter how small, makes a difference, and it helps us fulfill our mission of bringing you insightful and engaging deep dives into the issues that matter.
We deeply appreciate your support, and we're excited to continue exploring the world together.
So let's return to our deep dive and wrap up our analysis of Cuba's intriguing journey in this multipolar world.
We've covered a lot of ground today, from the economic challenges facing Cuba to their strategic alliances with BRICS nations and their innovative approach to sustainable development.
It's a story that highlights the complexities of global politics, the shifting balance of power, and the potential for unexpected players to emerge and reshape the future.
As we conclude this deep dive, we want to leave you with a final thought-provoking question.
If Cuba can successfully navigate these turbulent waters, harness the potential of its partnerships, and create a more prosperous and equitable society for its people, could it become a beacon of hope for other nations seeking a more independent and sustainable path?
It's a question that challenges us to think beyond traditional paradigms and envision a world where new models of development and governance can emerge.
We believe that exploring these possibilities is crucial, even if the answers remain elusive.
The world is in a state of constant flux, and the only certainty is that the future will be shaped by the choices we make today.
We encourage you to continue engaging with these complex issues, to challenge assumptions, and to seek out diverse perspectives.
Because in a world saturated with information, the ability to think critically and independently is more valuable than ever.
We hope this deep dive has sparked your curiosity and provided you with valuable insights.
We'll be back soon with another fascinating topic, ready to plunge headfirst into the depths of knowledge and share our discoveries with you.
Until then, stay curious, stay engaged, and keep exploring the world around you.
And remember, the best way to support our mission is to spread the word about the deep dive. Share our episodes with your friends and consider contributing to our GoFundMe page.
Thank you for joining us on this intellectual adventure. We'll see you on the next deep dive.
Until then, keep those digital brains engaged.